match, there was a situation he almost had you in a single, and you fought it off and you actually scored points. The reason I bring it up is that the mark of a world champion is what you are.
I don't know. I mean, I think I've always had those skills. They've always been in the toolbox. I've always been, a creative wrestler, and being in the program I'm at now kind of allows for that creativity to kind of come out. So I think I'm starting to get my confidence in some of these creative, unorthodox positions, and I'm just, like Coach Kale says, you're a world champion. It's not something that anybody can take away from you. So it's like almost like refreshing, and there's a load off my back now. I'm already a world champion. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Now I can just be creative and let my best wrestling come out. So that's a long-winded answer.
Could you be a little more specific of the fact that he let you do it? I'm trying to understand that.
He let,
the creativity, yeah.
I mean, it's just, I got to be careful what I say because it's no disrespect to the program I was at before, because at the time it was perfect for me. And I cut my teeth there, and they did an amazing job kind of wrangling in a crazy young man like me and giving me some sort of direction. But the switch to the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club in Penn State, it was just, we all need different things at different times of our lives. And I kind of needed to change something up in my wrestling, and I think I needed just a little bit more creativity. I was losing to guys like Dayton Fix, and he's a very unorthodox kind of creative type athlete. I needed to get a little more of that creativity. And like I said, I've always kind of had it going back to my high school career. I've always loved to watch the Russians kind of recreate these different positions and situations. And with the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club in Penn State, there's a little more freedom to express yourself creatively, in a creative sense. Yeah, so I'm just able to explore different positions and try things without,
Have you surprised yourself with your own creativity at all?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I have to surprise myself to keep up with guys like Kyle and Dave and Zane and Nolf. They're very creative, minds and wrestlers and people. So I gotta, kind of keep up with the Joneses a little bit, But in that match, I was kind of surprised. I was like, wow, I did that. I've done it multiple times, wrestling different guys in practice situations, matches, sparring, whatever, but it's never come out in a match, obviously. It's kind of unorthodox for me. But I just surprised myself a little bit, but, that's what happens when you're just present and free and you're just wrestling and you're out there having fun.
Thomas, going back to college, you've obviously had some moments here in Gallagher High, but with that being said, do you feel like there's any extra motivation?
Yeah, I mean, they're always, maybe not more motivated, just like a different type of motivation. Yeah. I'm already Olympic medalist, not a gold medalist, but a bronze and a world champion, Then it's like, how do you stay motivated? Well, you just find different type of motivation. You want to do it again and do it better and do it, in a different kind of fashion. And you have a lot more motivation outside of wrestling. You have a daughter that's almost 6 months old now, so I want to, compete hard. It's not about winning or losing, but just compete hard and being a class act and showing upstanding character for my daughter. Give her a good example to look up to, because unfortunately our society doesn't have very many good examples, in sports. They're few and far between, but some athletes, they're not very good examples. So I want to be a great example for my daughter, so she's not looking other places for a good example. She has one right in her own household.
When you're having your daughter, at what point did you kind of realize, like, okay, I'm going to start kind of, living for her and kind of being a good example?
I think right when we found out when my wife was pregnant, this time last year, right after the Olympic trials, your life kind of changes in different phases. You get married, so you're living and wrestling not only for yourself anymore, but you and your wife, and the principles that you as a team represent. And then right when you find out you're having a daughter, you kind of change your lifestyle a little bit more. You start saving a little bit of money. You start thinking, well, am I going to take that risk, or am I not going to take that risk? Because if I get hurt, that's food that's not on my table for my daughter. So it's just the answer to the question is immediately. Your life has to change.
Can you talk a little bit about the matches? Very different outcome score-wise from the Olympic trials. You guys wrestled really tight matches.
I mean, I pinned him in the first match,
yep,
and I beat him 2-1 in the second match, but I also had a broken foot. So beating a guy 2-1 in the second match of the trials with a broken foot is pretty dang impressive. And people don't realize that, and I shouldn't even say it, but the news is out there. So, and he kind of said something no disrespect to him, but he said he was right there, one point away from taking it to the third match. So I'm just thinking, I did it with a broken foot. You don't realize how far away you were. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to Vito, because he's a young guy, and I think to a certain extent he does look up to me, and I don't want to discourage him at all, because I've been in a situation where I've been discouraged by guys that are, I look up to, so I don't want to ever discourage him, because, he's the guy that's going to, replace me someday, and I hope that when he does, he goes on to be a world Olympic champion.
They say it's pretty hard to repeat. What do you got to do next few months to get ready to be a world champion?
I mean, I just got to stick with the game plan. We don't got to reinvent the wheel. Just keep doing what we're doing and make minor adjustments every single day, Our ship is very small, and we can make small adjustments as we go. So just continuing to refine my conditioning, my nutrition, my hydration, my techniques, and just keep batting down the hatches there. I mean, repeating is hard, but it's also it's a great responsibility, but it's a great honor to do it as well. There's some guys that are going to be in that tournament that weren't there last time. I look to see Kumar. That's everyone's like, well, you won the Worlds, but the best guys weren't there. Well, the best guys got to show up first off, and that's no disrespect to him either. But I imagine he'll be there, so I can really put a stamp on last year by wrestling guys like that.
Can you talk about Ravi Kumar a little bit? What about him makes him an exciting match for you?
He's a very appealing wrestler. He wrestles really hard. He's a hard-nosed guy. He wants to get in there and battle, and we're very much similar in that sense, where it's going to be a fist fight. Within the rules, of course. So I'm excited to wrestle a guy like that. It's not going to be super tactical or technical per se, but it's going to be a really fun match for both of us, because we like to wrestle hard, and also for the fans too, because there'll be a lot going on.
Thanks, man.